Welcome to this explainer. We are diving straight into literally the most unexpected, chaotic, and unforgettable viral movement of May 2026. You know, the internet in India moves incredibly fast, but every once in a while, a trend appears completely out of nowhere and just takes over everything, forcing everyone from everyday users to mainstream news anchors to pay attention. Today, we're going to unpack exactly how an absolute joke turned into a massive digital phenomenon.
Here's our roadmap for today. We're going to cover the Cockroach Janta Party, the anatomy of a viral trend, the youth frustration factor, AI and meme politics, and finally, satire or symbolic protest. Section 1. The Cockroach Janta Party, the birth of an internet phenomenon.
All right, let's get right into the totally absurd centerpiece of all this, the Cockroach Janta Party, or CJP as it's known online. Now, obviously, this was not a registered political entity. It was a completely sarcastic internet meme movement that absolutely peaked in May 2026. What started as just a collective goofy joke rapidly transformed into one of the most discussed digital topics in the entire country, effectively becoming this massive symbol for India's rapidly evolving internet culture.
And you have to talk about their completely unofficial satirical manifesto because it instantly became meme gold. Viral screenshots started going around claiming their core ideology was, get this, secular, socialist, democratic, lazy. I mean, it was perfectly engineered to resonate with Gen Z. But the genius of it was that, mixed in with the humor, were actual genuine promises: internet freedom, real accountability and reforms, and representation for the quote-unquote chronically online generation. It used incredibly relatable internet culture to connect with millions of people who would normally just scroll right past political news.
Moving to Section 2, Anatomy of a Viral Trend, from comments to mainstream news.
To really grasp the sheer speed of the modern internet, you just have to trace this timeline. It all kicked off when some highly controversial public remarks triggered widespread frustration. Within just 1 hour, the anger was palpable. Give it 2 days, and social media is absolutely flooded with memes and parody manifestos. But the real tipping point? That happened around day 5. When actual public figures and real politicians started reacting to the movement online. 2 weeks in, the trend had totally broken out of niche meme pages, forcing traditional mainstream media and huge YouTube creators to seriously ask, what on earth is the Cockroach Janta Party?
The momentum here was just wild. CJP-related hashtags totally dominated X. And users weren't just passively sharing opinions, right? They were actively building out this entirely fictional political universe. We're talking edited campaign slogans, totally fake political debates, and incredibly realistic parody news headlines. The sheer volume of participation, plus the competitive nature of all these meme creators trying to outdo each other, made the whole thing completely impossible to ignore.
Section 3. The youth frustration factor, the real issues beneath the memes.
Okay, zooming out for a second, we really have to look past the jokes here. The crucial takeaway is that this intense sarcasm was actually a deeply needed outlet for young Indians dealing with some very heavy systemic issues. A huge chunk of young people feel completely disconnected from traditional political conversations. When you look at the underlying drivers, widespread unemployment, recent exam controversies, ongoing internet censorship, and these intense rising social pressures, you start to see a digital community that is incredibly frustrated. So CJP wasn't just a random meme. It was a highly targeted vehicle for sarcastic expression about very real, very pressing anxieties.
And this brings us to a truly fascinating cultural shift. There's this massive, stark contrast in how communication is evolving right now. Think about traditional political activism. It relied on conventional speeches, newspaper editorials, your standard television debates. But today's internet users? They are expressing their political frustration totally differently. They respond to relatable humor, sarcastic reels, viral formats, and highly produced AI edits. CJP represents a huge shift toward what is essentially modern meme politics.
Which leads us to Section 4, AI and meme politics, fueling the digital campaign.
So, what was the technological catalyst that made this whole satirical movement look surprisingly legitimate? Artificial intelligence. India has a rapidly growing AI content ecosystem, and users combined meme culture with AI to a pretty devastatingly effective degree. Suddenly, everyday creators could churn out realistic-looking political satire in literally minutes. We saw these dramatic, cinematic election rallies on Instagram Reels racking up millions of views. We saw fictional campaign trailers with flawless AI-generated voiceovers. AI didn't just participate in the trend, it threw gas on the fire and amplified the engagement exponentially.
And finally, Section 5. Satire or symbolic protest, The debate over CJP's impact. As we look at the broader cultural fallout, it's important to neutrally examine how different groups view the actual consequences of all this internet chaos. On one side, critics make a very straightforward, valid point. They worry that excessive meme culture might just trivialize incredibly serious political issues. The big concern here is that by wrapping massive, systemic problems like unemployment and censorship into an absurd joke about a cockroach party, the gravity of the actual real-world problems just gets completely lost in the pursuit of entertainment.
But on the flip side, supporters strongly counter that satire has historically always been a powerful form of social commentary. From their perspective, CJP isn't a distraction from the issues, it's a spotlight on them. Supporters view this whole thing as a symbolic protest. To them, it's a highly modern, incredibly effective way for a disconnected generation to voice their grievances against systems they feel totally alienated from, using the exact language they speak best: internet humor.
Now, regardless of whether you view it as just pure entertainment or a legitimate digital protest, one indisputable fact really stands out. The Cockroach Janta Party phenomenon proves how shockingly fast online communities can organize around shared emotions. I mean, an absolute joke on social media became a nationwide conversation in a matter of days. It also highlights a permanent change in our media consumption, right? Traditional news outlets are now frequently forced to follow and cover narratives that are entirely driven by memes and short-form videos online.
And that brings us to the ultimate question. The internet absolutely thrives on relatability, humor, and controversy, and CJP nailed all three perfectly. It showed a whole generation using creativity to build community, literally using the internet as a stage for real social commentary. So as we look to the future of our digital discourse, I'm going to leave you with this final, provocative thought to consider. Will the Cockroach Janta Party just go down in history as one of the most unforgettable temporary viral trends of 2026? Or are we actually looking at the permanent new face of political communication? Thanks for joining me for this explainer. I hope this breakdown gave you a clear understanding of the forces shaping our online world right now.